Good afternoon, I am Mr. Ish. You are joining me for this video and I thank you for joining me for this video here on Trapezoid. Both questions we will look at will be based on this polygon over here and the drawing is shown over here. As the first question, we have to find the area of this shape. Given what we know, we can add a little number over here and let's call that an 8. Everything over here is hypothetical. The fact that you're seeing these two markings over here shows that these two sides, the hypotenuse of these two right triangles that you see in here must be the same. These right triangles are the same because one side is equal. If this is 90, that's 50, that must be 40. If this side is equal to that, then this angle must be 50 and this right here must be 40 degrees. To find the area for trapezoid, you need to have half multiplied by base 1 plus base 2, the two bases, and multiply that by h. If this right here is my base 1, we can call all of this my base 2. But base 2 is made up of three segments here, from here to here, from here to here, which these two segments must be the same because these are equal triangles on both sides, and then this one right here must be a 5 which corresponds to B1. So if we have this 50 degrees over here, we want to just determine from here to here, we can use trigonometry. Cosine 50 degrees is equal to adjacent, we'll call this x over 8, and then x will equal to, we'll call this side here, we're trying to determine x. 50 cosine times 8, and that gives me a 5.14. If this right here is 5.14, this right here must be 5.14, and then this right here is 5. We're looking at B2 is equal to 5.14 plus 5.14 plus 5, and that gives us a of 15.28. So we've determined B2, we know B1, we just have to determine the height now. We can use trigonometry again for that. We can use any of these angles, 50 and 40. Let's just use 50 again. Sine 50 degrees is equal to this right here, h, height over 8, because it's always equal to opposite over hypotenuse, and h is equal to, you just run that through, we get a 6.128. So we have height, we have B2, we have B1, you just run it through this formula. We'll have half times the sum of these two, 15.28 plus 5, which is 20.28 multiplied by 6.128, and let's determine the area of this trapezoid. And the area will be 62.14 units squared. This type of question here requiring you to do multiple steps to determine an area is very common, especially in the SAT. So it's good to be comfortable with these type of questions. For the second question of this video, we have to find the perimeter of this trapezoid. This again is a trapezoid. Just because you're not seeing a triangular aspect where it does not make it a non-trapezoid, because at the end of the day, you still have a shape which has a B1, a 1 base, you have a B2 which is all the way from here, and you have a certain height. And that right there is the definition of a trapezoid. The fact that you have these elements makes this a trapezoid, so view it as such. We have to find the perimeter of this shape. We know right here we're dealing with a square over here because we have three sides are equal. If three sides are equal, by definition, then the fourth side must be equal to complete that shape. So this right here must be a square. Given only that what you have to determine the perimeter. You know this right here is a 45 degrees. If this is a 90, that's a 45, then the other one must be a 45. Let's use the values over here, and let's, for a challenge, we say we can use a calculator. We know we have a 7 over here, we have a 45 here, 45, these angles are the same, and we have to determine, let's call this A and we have to call this B. This side right here, A must be equal to B, simply because we are now looking at a good triangle over here, which would be an isosceles right triangle. Two sides are equal, two angles are equal, so we can easily do that. You would think back to your 45, 45, 90 triangle, you have a ratio of 1 to 1 to root 2. This corresponds to my 45 degree side, 45 degree side, and 90 degree side, because root 2 is larger than 1. So if 7 corresponds to a root 2 side, A and B each correspond to a 1 side, so you can easily do a ratio A over 1, right? A over 1 should equal to 7 over root 2. Each actual side divided by its ratio value, and you have root 2A is equal to 7, A is equal to 7 over root 2. You don't need to rationalize this, but A is equal to 7 over root 2, which is also equal to B. So now we know this right here is 7 over root 2, this right here is a 7 over root 2. Then that means all of these sides are 7 over root 2 because it is a square. So now we have everything we need to finish this question, so let's make it neat and do so. The perimeter must be equal to length of all of these sides added. We have a 7 right here, the hypotenuse, and then let's do this in an expedited manner. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of these 7 over root 2 sides, and you can do that, there's nothing wrong with that. So your answer will be 7 plus 28 over root 2. We can provide a good calculator answer over here. It would literally correspond to 26.79. But this is the answer we're going for because we said earlier we're not going to use a calculator. And you can see how this question came about. It wasn't too hard. But these are the type of questions you should be comfortable with because they require you to do quite a bit for each question that is asked. And they pop up in exams all the time. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.